You're listening to an extract of the Leader podcast. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Who has Boris Johnson's mobile phone number, and who's got access to the top secret WhatsApp groups frequented by the PM? These are questions being asked as an inquiry begins into the most troubling conundrum of them all. Who leaked the Prime Minister's texts with Sir James Dyson? And was it Dominic Cummings? Our Deputy Political Editor Nicholas Cecil is on the story. First of all, Nicholas, do you have Boris's number?
Well, David, as you know, journalists never reveal their sources, so I'll pass on that one. What we learnt this morning, though, was that Culture Minister Caroline Dinenage does not have the Prime Minister's phone number. She appeared on ITV's Good Morning Britain this morning, where she was being asked about the controversy over text exchanges between the Prime Minister and business tycoon Sir James Dyson. She explained that ministers, including the Prime Minister, don't hand out their phone numbers willy-nilly. And then she went on to say that she didn't think she had Mr. Johnson's number. She was then pressed to check whether she actually does have Mr. Johnson's number, and she went away, she grabbed her phone, checked, and came back and said, "No, I don't have it."
Is that unusual, Nicholas, for ministers not to have a kind of instant access to the Prime Minister, but prominent businessmen like Sir James Dyson can just text him and get an answer?
Well, this goes to the heart of the whole controversy at the moment, at the heart of government. Now, Sir James Dyson, he texted the Prime Minister about a tax issue when Britain was facing the first wave of COVID-19. Some of his staff were returning to the UK to join the emergency race to produce thousands of ventilators, which the government thought might be needed to stop the NHS being overrun by COVID. It's not so much the subject here which is the concern. It's really that the fact that businessmen had the Prime Minister's own phone number and can text him when ordinary members of the public and even his ministers don't.
And this is why Labour's Sir Keir Starmer is accusing the government of governing by WhatsApp.
Yes, and there's a number of cases of this. And what happened overnight was that someone at Downing Street has pointed the finger of blame very firmly at Dominic Cummings for allegedly leaking the text exchange between Sir James Dyson and Boris Johnson. 3 papers were briefed with accusations against Mr. Cummings. At least 2 of them widely seem to be sympathetic to the government, the Daily Telegraph and the Sun. The Times, for example, was told by someone, a source, saying Dominic is engaged in systematic leaking. Now, Mr. Cummings hasn't commented so far today, or certainly by lunchtime, but certainly he would have a possible motive to act in such a way because he left Downing Street after losing out a power battle there. And he may have actually had access to these texts, although we don't know that for sure.
But let alone who made this leak, is Number 10 worried that it could be leaked at all? These are private text messages from the Prime Minister. Is there a security concern there?
Well, this is another irony of this growing story, is that the Prime Minister has actually asked for the Cabinet Office to conduct an inquiry to discover who leaked the exchange he had with Sir James Dyson. But now you've got someone at Number 10 saying it was Mr. Cummings. So it's basically undermined the Cabinet Office's own inquiry. And it's leading to questions, well, if you found the culprit, or at least the person who you think is the culprit, what's the point of this inquiry in the first place?
What's the official line from Number 10 on whether they believe that Dominic Cummings was behind this leak?
Well, there was another slightly farcical twist this morning, and this was that when the Prime Minister's official spokesman was asked about this, he said he wouldn't comment on speculation. Now, all journalists at Westminster know, or at least suspect very strongly, that one part of Downing Street was briefing against Dominic Cummings, and now the Prime Minister's official spokesman is rejecting that or playing that down as speculation. There's a slightly more serious issue here, because if you have these ongoings, then it starts to erode trust in Downing Street and the message coming out of government.
There's more from Nicholas and our politics team at standard.co.uk. Follow the live blog for breaking news.